Welcome to our series, Understanding Cancer, the Truth, Treatment, and Myths with the John Wentworth Cancer Center, located on East Route 34 in Sandwich. Call the John Wentworth Cancer Center at 815-570-5006. And welcome back to our weekly feature here on WSPY. Once again, we're joined by Dr. Kevin Cater, radiation oncologist at the John Wentworth Cancer Center on Route 34 east of Sandwich. And Dr. Kevin Cater, good to have you back. How are you doing today?
It's nice to be back.
Today's topic is truth and myths of cancer. And, of course, there's a lot of confusion out there for a lot of folks these days. Even in today's societal, social media conscience world out there, there's a lot of truths and myths out there that we're always trying to figure out what's true and what's not true, and that's part of what today's program is all about. And where would you like to start on this topic?
Well, actually, I always like to look back at history, because history kind of tells us a lot about what cancer is about, perceptions, and where we are today. So there was a time, and you're talking decades ago, when being diagnosed with cancer was a very shameful thing, actually. And the reason why it was shameful was we didn't have any of the treatments that we did today. And so when people developed cancer, they inevitably were going to die from it, and it was going to be a disfiguring and painful death, actually. Right. And so for that reason, it was a very shameful thing, and patients or people who were diagnosed with cancer were kind of sequestered. And today, that perception still exists, so the whole shame of being diagnosed with cancer, or the shame of potentially being diagnosed with cancer, but it's going, but it still pervades. So the reason why I mention that is because it's okay to think about cancer and to talk about it, and because those things, those days are gone of painful, disfiguring deaths.
Right. I think about back to some movies where they portrayed, the actor or actress portrayed themselves dying, and most times everybody in the audience knew it was cancer, but they never said the word in the movie itself there, I even recall a family member, a relative, I should say, that never referred to it as cancer. She called it the big C that she had. And, again, there was that sort of shame that went with that whole thing. And so that's one of those things that, again, it's been talked about a lot more. People discuss it more openly than what had been before. Early signs, is that something that we can do to help maybe stave off the effects of cancer?
Absolutely. And so early signs, and it depends on the type of cancer that you're looking at. So obviously in the United States, the main ones that we think of are breast, lung, prostate cancer, colon cancer. Those are the ones that we're all at risk for. And so breast cancer, you want to be doing your self-breast exams, women. Do it at least once a month, shortly after your menstrual cycle. And if you feel any lumps, obviously bring that to your physician's attention. For men, prostate cancer, there's actually not a whole lot of symptoms. If you're having changes in your urination symptoms, that can also be a sign, but that's very nonspecific. So if you find changes in your urination pattern, don't be alarmed. That one's a very, very nonspecific one. For lung cancer, any change in your pattern of cough, or if you cough up blood, very, very worrisome. And colon cancer, any change in the bowel habits, and blood in your stools. Yeah,
and as much as talked about the preventative measures, and the early signs these days, that they didn't talk about decades ago. These days there's the early warning signs that may save you from, dying from cancer, where you're able to treat it, catch it ahead of time, and to knock it out of your system, hopefully. So.
Yeah, that is correct. And you mentioned prevention. That's the most important thing. If we can prevent all this, and if nobody ever needs to see me, that would be a great thing.
Certainly. We understand that. Before we wrap up today's program, we're running out of time, but you folks have an open house coming up that the public can come out and meet and greet with you. When's that going to be?
It's going to be March 21st at 4:30 p.m. We'd love to have everybody from Plano and Sandwich swing by and see their new center.
Okay, the John Wentworth Cancer Center on East Route 34, and we hope that you can get on out there for that open house. In the meantime, before we wrap up on today's program, how can they reach you at the John Wentworth Cancer Center?
You can call us during our business hours. The telephone number there is 815-570-5006.
All right, Dr. Kevin Cater, again, radiation oncologist with the John Wentworth Cancer Center. Thank you so much for stopping on by.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Join us next week for our series called Understanding Cancer, the Truths, Treatment, and Myths with the John Wentworth Cancer Center located on East Route 34 in Sandwich. Call the John Wentworth Cancer Center at 815-570-5006.